Hey, Joey Soto here, and on behalf of myself and my partner Lon Naylor, I'd like to welcome you back to this free Screencast Pro video series. In the last video, we spoke about just how awesome it is to use video in your business, but not just video, also using Camtasia. Camtasia is the best video tool that there is available on the internet. But the big thing and the big issue is that a lot of people don't actually know how to use Camtasia to its fullest capabilities. And this free video series is just showing you some cool ideas and some cool stuff about how you can use Camtasia to make better videos. Now, in this video, we really wanted to take it to the next level. We don't just want to show you an over-the-shoulder thing. We don't just want to talk to you about how you can do amazing stuff. We really want you to experience the awesomeness of what Camtasia actually is. But we're going to keep it very simple for this video right here, because we are going to talk about some more advanced video stuff later on. But for now, let's keep it very simple. First thing we're going to do is check out this very short logo intro that was created all inside of Camtasia. Take a look at this.
Audio Jungle.
Pretty awesome, right? That was created all inside of Camtasia, all within about 15 to 20 minutes. It really didn't take that long to create. Now, what I want to do is I want to give you access to the actual project file of this logo intro so that you can go ahead and load it up into Camtasia right now, and you can actually see how we've actually constructed this video inside of Camtasia. This is the best way that you can possibly learn, because you're not just going to see us actually creating it. You can actually see the file right inside, and you can see how it's made physically inside of the software. Now, we're not going to do an entire walkthrough of physically how we made the thing, because that's not what this video is about. We are going to talk to you about where you can learn that in the next video. But for now, I want you to actually go ahead and look at that project file and see how it's constructed. And also, the very cool thing about these templates is that they're 100% custom. All right, you can make them look however you want. You can change the logos, you can change the colors, you can change the music, all inside of Camtasia. Look, there's been a lot of awesome video creators that have come out over the past year, right? But the one thing that we got from our customer feedback was that there was always something that they couldn't do. There was always something that just wasn't as customized as they would have liked. But the very cool thing with Camtasia is that everything is completely custom. You can change A to Z. Absolutely anything of what you see inside that template is fully customizable. All right, so you can go ahead and customize that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it over to my good friend Lon, who's going to walk you through exactly how you can customize these templates for yourself. So go ahead, download the template below. This template below is actually for PC users only. We are working on some Macintosh ones, so bear with us on the Macintosh users. We are going to get to you. But for now, there's a PC template right there. If you don't have Camtasia, don't panic, all right? You can download Camtasia from the link below. Free trial. Go ahead, you can try it out. You don't have to pay anything. You can download the full thing on your PC right now, and you could actually do this right now if you don't have Camtasia. All right, so click the links below. Once you've done all that, carry on watching the rest of this video.
Okay, Screencast Pros, Lon Naylor here, and in this video tutorial, I'm going to go through Joey Soto's awesome logo reveal project and give you some of my tips and tricks on how I might go about modifying such a thing. Of course, the first thing we need to do is download Joey's template here and save it to your hard drive. This is going to download the Camtasia zip file that will open up in Camtasia. So let's jump over there. And the way we do this is to go to File, Import Zipped Project. Navigate to where you saved the file. Here's the zip file. So I'm going to go ahead and open that. Next part here is, where do I want my project to be saved to after opening up the content from Joey's zip file? So I'm just going to navigate to a directory that makes sense to me. Call it Logo Reveal Project and say OK. It's going to open the project after the import, and there we go. So now Joey's project is not only in the clip bin with all the assets that he created and provided in the zip file, but it's also down on the timeline. So certainly the first thing I'm probably going to want to do here is kind of stretch this out a little bit so I can see what's going on. Get a little bit more real estate, and squish these tracks down a little bit so I can see all of the various elements on the timeline. And I'm just going to go ahead and play this.
Audio Jungle.
Yeah, I do like that a lot. It's clean, it's simple, so let's make some changes here. First of all, one of the things that I kind of want to do while I'm editing is to mute this audio track so it's not thumping in my ear the whole time. In case you don't know, the way you can do that is you can turn off the track. In essence, the clip is still there, but it's not used during the preview. So it'll basically be silent. Okay? So let's go back to the beginning, and we'll notice that probably the major thing that we'll want to modify here is definitely going to be the logo. Probably not going to do you too much good to have the Screencast Pro logo if you want to use it in your own work. So the first thing I'm basically going to need is a replacement for Joey's logo file here. Now, something that I kind of like to use for creating quick logos and graphics in general is PowerPoint. So here, I basically have been messing around with some, I don't know, just logo designs for one of my other sites called Screencast Studios. And I like using PowerPoint for this because you can use all the different fonts and all the different formatting options and things like that that PowerPoint brings to the table. Some really handy-dandy graphics capabilities. So let's see here. I think what I'll do is I kind of like this one as a little bit of a sample just for an experiment in this particular project. So I've kind of made it look the way I want. It really, seriously, this is just text using a certain font. This one happens to be Show Card Gothic. You can search for that on Google if you like, but the way I'm going to go ahead and use this is I've created it. I'm just going to click on it, right click, and save as picture. So give it a name, save it out as a PNG, and now we should be ready to go. So once you have an image file, I'm going to give you a huge tip right here. You see, if I were to try to replace this image on the timeline with a different image and move it around or pull something into the clip in here and then try to get it down here with this animation, it gets to be really complicated. But here's the sweet part. So watch this. So this clip right here on track 4 is the logo PNG, and I've selected it by clicking on it. And now I'm going to right click and say Update Media. I'll go ahead and navigate to where I saved my new logo file from PowerPoint and say Open, and watch what happens. Notice how it replaced it on the timeline with the same dimensions that Joey had, which means that essentially everything is going to stay the same size. I'll give you a word of caution here. If you try to put in a logo image here that is a whole lot taller or more square than Joey's sample here is, then certainly we're going to have some issues with the revealer element up here, okay, because it's not going to be the same size. And because there are animations on the timeline that do scaling and determine the size, it's just not going to be all that easy to match the size of our covering up reveal element here with the logo that we put in. But if you use this little trick, we're pretty much going to be in the game. So let's go ahead and give that a run and just see how close we came. Right? So that looks pretty good. And it's just one of those tricks that if you know how to do it, you can really take advantage of changing out elements on the timeline without moving stuff around and messing it up. Okay? The timing of the animation right here is pretty significant. And when it comes in right here, okay, is also significant because the element is there and it needs to stay there, right? So that's how it does the smooth wipe. It's all a matter of timing, as Joey showed you in his tutorial. So this is just a really awesome thing to be able to change out the media. And you'll notice that up here in the clip bin, it then changed that media out also. So I think that looks pretty good. And you can kind of take the playhead here and move it along and see how your work is progressing. Okay, now here's another big tip. What you're going to find is as you move the playhead, watch when it gets to this element right here. I'm going to see a yellow line, and it's going to try to snap the playhead to that line, and it sticks. I'm dragging and I'm trying to preview this, but it sticks. Okay, and the more stuff you get on the timeline here that you run into, the worse this kind of gets. So here is a complete frustration saving tactic to turn off that auto snapping feature. If I hold the control key and then grab the playhead and move it, watch. See, there's no snap line, no sticking. So this I call smooth scrubbing. And a lot of times when you're trying to dial in your narration and your timing up here, it's very important that you be able to kind of move around without this irritating sticking function. Okay, hold your control key, grab the playhead, and smooth scrubbing. Right? Nice. Okay, so also as I kind of look at this, my colors are a blue and a red, whereas Joey's revealer here is a green color. Well, that worked great for the Screencast Pro logo, but here's how I go ahead and change that. I'm going to go to the rectangle shape, that is the revealer here, and I'm going to double click it on the timeline to edit. And I'm going to go ahead and move over here a little bit so that I have some of my logo still visible. And while this is clicked and selected, I'm going to go ahead and change my fill color. And certainly you could just pick a color, but I think what I'm going to do is just kind of match up colors a little bit, and we can do that by using the little eyedropper tool here. So I'm going to select a color and pick one of these shades of blue from my logo gradient. Okay, so let's take a look at what that looks like. There we go, that looks pretty good. One other tip is that you'll notice that if I have an element selected on the timeline, in the preview window I have all the handle controls here. Well, a lot of times I don't really want that if I'm scrubbing through to check it. So if you just click anywhere else, it will unselect it, and now I can go ahead and scrub with a clear view of what's going on in the preview window. All right, so now I've got a little bit of color matching here, and in general, this is just going to look real good for me. Right, so that's some basic editing. Let's see what else we can do here. I'm going to double click on the reveal element again. You can also play with some of the effects for the shape callout. And there are a couple of different styles here, for example. And I think what I'll do is maybe we'll try something like this. And now I have a little bit of a gradient kind of look to it. We could try something else. So you can kind of pick through these and see what might be applicable. I think that might be a little dark for me. But just realize that you have a couple of options here under the effects for a shape. So I think I'm going to go with this one for now. And that looks pretty good, okay? The other thing that we can certainly do is mess with the background a little bit. If I double click on it down here, we can then go ahead and do the same change color tricks. But in this case, I think I'm just going to leave it white, but I'm going to go ahead and try a different style. And I'm going to try the glossy style. And that gives it kind of this flat design kind of look here. Not strictly a gradient. Kind of an interesting look, so I kind of like it. Let's go ahead and play that. All right. I think it's looking pretty good. Those are probably the biggest tips for just modifying right out of the box. So to kind of recap, I wouldn't try to do too much in the way of resizing your revealer element here because of the animations that are included on that track. It's just going to be tough. You'd probably be better off to follow Joey's original tutorial and create your own from scratch if you really need to get silly with, you know, making your revealer bigger sizes or something like that. Try the trick with just replacing the medium, and it'll try to resize it, so you might end up in the ball game like I did. And then finally, we can also go ahead and swap out the music track once we turn it back on. When it comes to replacing the audio, well, there's a couple of considerations there. A couple of tips on how we might do such a thing. First of all, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this clip, and I'm going to look to my library for a piece of music of a rather short duration, like one of the intros from the library. Okay, so certainly 19 seconds is too long, but I'm going to show you a trick here. So I'm going to drop this onto the timeline where Joey's track was. And the thing about most royalty-free music is it has a definitive ending to it. So I'm just going to grab the handle here and start trimming this back all the way until I can go ahead and get a chunk of it just to fit our time. Little more. There we go. So here we can kind of see that the music starts to fade out, and I'm just going to try this for a second and then we'll see if we need to make any adjustments. So one thing you might notice is that it starts a little harsh in pulling off this little trick. So I'll move the playhead to the very beginning. I'm going to highlight just a little bit of it, probably about, less than a second, somewhere around half a second, and then once it's selected, click the audio tab, and I'm going to go ahead and do a fade in. And let's just kind of see how that works. Double click to unselect. Okay, so that's a little trick you can often use, especially with royalty-free music, again, that has a definitive ending to it. Works rather nicely for these logo reveals. You just don't want to scare people right at the very beginning of your video, so that's why I put a little fade up in there. And then I'll tell you what, once you get it all customized, it would be nice to never have to do this again. And here's the great thing about Camtasia is that once I have everything all dialed in and lined up the way I want it, I'm just going to go ahead and put the playhead at the very beginning and highlight the selection of my intro clip. And then I'm going to right click down here and I'm going to say add playhead selection to library. That's going to put all of these elements that we've modified once into the library, and you can give it a name. I'll call mine Screencast Studios Reveal. And now it's always in my library, ready to be used whenever I want. In fact, I think what I'll do, just to kind of show you that, I'm going to highlight everything down on the timeline that we've done and I'm going to delete it. Ow, boom, gone. Move the playhead to the very beginning, and then just take the asset from the library and drop it on a track. And God willing and the creek don't rise, everything should be right there ready for me to reuse in any project I want. Boom.
Thanks, Lon, for that very awesome walkthrough. Now look, if you enjoyed what Lon just did there and you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit like below and leave a comment. Give us your feedback on what you thought of this video, all right? So we know we're doing a good job. But secondly, most important, make sure you keep your eyes open for the next video, because we're gonna speak to you not only about a logo stinger, but we're gonna talk to you about how you can get access to literally loads of different, very, very high quality, advanced templates. Some of them you're seeing on screen right now. Just take a look at some of these and look how professional they look and look how animated they are, right? They're very, very cool. Now, the most amazing thing about this is that these templates that you're seeing, they're all fully custom, right? You can do absolutely anything you want to them. Colors, fonts, you can change the animations themselves if you want. You can change what the words say, literally absolutely anything on that template you can customize. So if you like these templates, make sure you stick around because we're going to show you how you can get access to a whole load of them. But not just that. Look, Camtasia is an amazing tool, right? But as I've already said, it's quite complicated, and for a newbie, it can be very overwhelming. So not only are we going to talk to you about how you can get access to these templates, we're going to show you how you can create them for yourself. All right, we're going to show you how to get access to a full A to Z comprehensive program for Camtasia, not just for the PC, by the way, for the PC and for the Mac. The training covers PC and Mac, all right? So if you're a Mac user, make sure you're there because this training applies to you 100%. We're gonna show you how to do all of this awesome, cool stuff with Camtasia. So yes, it's all good getting the templates because it's all done for you, but it's better to teach a man how to fish rather than just give him a fish, right? It's that big old saying. And that's what this is about. We want to teach you how you can actually go and fish rather than just giving you the whole fish, right? But we're going to actually give you both things. So we're going to give you the fish and we're going to give you a rod, all right? So you can do both things. We're going to give you the training on how to create these templates and we're going to give you the templates as well. If you want to learn more about that and how you can get into that and get access to that at a reduced price, by the way, make sure you watch that next video because I can give you a better overview of exactly what you're going to be getting access to and exactly what Screencast Pro actually is. So remember, if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment below, hit the like button, and I'll see you next time.